Hello there, you Awakening Wonders. Thanks for joining me today for Stay Free with Russell Brand. Whilst we may be in the midst of a global omni-crisis, perhaps we can see this as an opportunity to form new discourse around, well, awakening, peace, unity. Perhaps we can form a vision of a better mind together, first individually, and then ultimately in a shared imagination. For surely each vision, each iteration of civilization and society has been before its realization and instantiation a dream in the minds of people just like us. At least that is my prayer. Thank you for having the courage to join us. Thank you for having hope in your hearts. And if you don't have hope in your heart, then let me be a conduit for that possibility right now, for I believe that we can together improve our individual and collective condition through that most hokey, folky and almost cliched of commodities, love itself, the felt experience of the deep unity that underlies all apparent separateness. Not that you would know it if you were to look at American political conversation in particular at the moment, because there's a lot of hawkish crying for war in Iran. Now, we're pretty determined here on our channel not to comment on the positions taken by people directly affected by this conflict across its entire spectrum, because surely after those attacks you can understand why people would want vengeance, why people would be lost in delirious rage. Surely you can see why people have a variety of perspectives on this subject, and isn't one of the most important principles that we, those of us that are not personally involved, stick to is open-heartedness and a willingness to look for solutions together, to almost in some way be present for everyone that's personally affected. And I bet loads of you feel like I do, like just bewildered and delirious. Loads of people in the space we operate in have taken really, really strong positions, but it's like it hurts me too much to imagine that I would meet someone from any side of this conflict and not be able to say, we're here for you in your suffering. I pray for you. I pray for you. I wish I had the confidence. I wish I had the certainty to say, this is what we must do. This is what they must do. But all I can feel is a kind of a sorrow and a longing and a yearning and a hope for something beyond this, some kind of unity that might come from all of this separateness and from all of this pain and suffering. And I want my life to become a prayer for the people that are suffering in this. And we have conversations on this show, as you know, that are pretty complex. And I think you're going to love the one that we're having in today's show with a man called Ted Walter. I'd not heard of him before, but he's an expert on 9/11, what you'd have to call counter-narratives. These are the kind of things that, and let me know in the chat if you're aware of this world, that a little while ago you'd have had to have gone into the darker reaches of the online spaces to access. He talks about what would once have been called 9/11 conspiracy theories. He raises some fascinating questions and he conveys some information that's pretty difficult to listen to. It's a contentious subject. It's a fascinating subject. If you want to gain access to all of that conversation, press the awaken button that's on your screen now. As always, the first part of our show will be streamed on YouTube, and it will YouTube. That's what happened to us lately. You've been YouTube, mate. You've been YouTubed where the sun don't shine. They've YouTubed you right up the monetization, mate. It'll be on YouTube for the first 15 minutes. There's a link in the description. You can join us over on Rumble. Now, with Rumble, the best thing to do is download the app and watch it there, right? And turn on notifications, because if you do, every time we make content, you'll be told about that. Do you know, though, that if you've got a Samsung phone, they won't even let you get it? And if you're in France, they won't even let you get it. So we must be doing something right. Now, the first story I want to talk to you lot about today is, in a sense, perhaps, let me know if you agree in the chat with just a yes or a no, where the solution might lie. Hundreds of Jewish Americans were arrested in the US Capitol on Wednesday, protesting for Congress to push for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Marjorie Taylor Greene accused them, of course, of being insurrectionists. Let me know how you feel about Marjorie Taylor Greene either way as well. God, I'm just trying to offer you the idea of some kind of transcendence here. And let me know if you think that these Jewish American protesters are heading in the right direction, because certainly they're making a protest that I wouldn't be able to make without feeling that I was wounding those directly affected by the agony of this conflict. And yet their position perhaps could be part of a solution for all of us. Certainly that's my prayer. Let's have a look at that protest and let's know, because You know, recently there was a protest in the Capitol. I believe it was on January the 5th, 6th, 7th, around that kind of time. And it was immediately called an insurrection. Then we found out that there was a peculiar amount of deep state control. Forewarnings were ignored, peculiar information. And it became over time another of those examples of the polemicism and tendency for polarity that the world is experiencing in such an extreme way right now. And now into this incredibly fractious, conflagratory space has come the mother and father of all divisive issues, the ongoing Middle Eastern conflict. Here, perhaps, are some tender shoots of potential solution. People willing to protest outside of their demographic and cultural group. Let me know what you think about these ideas, guys, and let's have a look at that protest now.
We have breaking news from Capitol Hill. Take a look at these pictures. A group of protesters staging a demonstration calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. They are inside the Cannon House office building. I want to go to NBC's Julie Sirkin. Julie, what more can you tell us?
Yeah, hey, Chris. I mean, you literally see some of them behind me right now. There are about 1,000 of them, hundreds of them have been able to actually get into the Cannon office building, the House office building where I'm standing right now. They are from a coalition known as Jewish Voices for Peace. These are American Jews and allies who are, of course, not Jewish as well. They are demanding a ceasefire on both sides. I will tell you also, Chris, there's a lot of people behind me right now. They're all over this rotunda. They are all over the bottom, as you see on your screens right now. There have been some arrests made. As I was even walking to this camera, I saw a number of Capitol Police take
a demand for peace from Jewish Americans would seem to me to be a positive thing. Let me know if you agree with that in the chat, because again, let me reiterate this, because I would hate to be misunderstood at such a sensitive time. Who's qualified to say to the people of Israel that their feelings are not valid after the horrors of those attacks? Who is in a position to condemn people that are advocating for support if indeed hospitals and vital infrastructure are being lost? Who outside of that conflict is in a position to confidently claim that they have a monopoly on truth and a monopoly on righteousness? Indeed, isn't this situation born from the polarity and the conflict that is born when distinct and potentially and evidently opposing views both believe that they're right and that there's no possibility for a way out of it? There's US Capitol Police there, or at least that's what it says on his jacket. Most likely FBI, CIA. I mean, who is that? Who is that guy in that high-vis vest? Where you will not get complex analysis, I would say, is from Joe Biden, the president of the United States, who's always kind of willing to move between, let me know if you agree with this, between bombast and doddering. That's what he moves between mostly. Like, he's either being very, very bombastic or very, very doddery. This is more bombastic Biden, I would say. He's sort of found a rhetorical trick that he can rely on. It's the word don't. Now, it's clearly working for him because he can't stop using it. You're going to love this.
What is your message to Hezbollah and its backer, Iran?
Don't.
He's so confident in don't that he's decided to take it on the road. That's him just working it up, workshopping the don't model and the don't motif. He's going, I know he's going to take it. He's going to take it live.
My message to any state or any other hostile actor thinking about attacking Israel remains the same as it was a week ago. Don't.
Now, a little while ago, Joe Biden made a pretty outrageous claim. Russia has already lost the Russia-Ukraine war. Now, this is another one of those stories where what we've been told publicly is distinct from what is said privately. I had a great conversation recently, actually, where it was proposed that all government information should be transparent. Imagine if you had total transparency in government and total privacy for the individual. What the aim appears to be is total transparency and lack of privacy for the individual and maximum privacy for the government. So whether it was the COVID pandemic or the Ukraine-Russia war, they're in public, they're saying Putin don't stand a chance, we're annihilating him, and then in the background they're like, this counteroffensive is not going well, we're losing. But the thing is there is another side to this argument, and that side of the argument is represented by one Vladimir Putin. Have a look at what Joe Biden says in public, and in a minute we'll show you Putin's response.
What agreement is ultimately reached depends upon Putin and what he decides to do. But there is no possibility of him winning the war in Ukraine. He's already lost that war. Imagine anyway, he's already lost that war.
See that he's making a claim there that I would not want to make it to someone as someone as so pugnacious and confident as Vladimir Putin. This is a nightmare response. Vladimir Putin, it's like sort of if you've sort of said at school that you're willing to have a fight with someone, yeah, I'll have a fight with him, tell him I'm here after school, and it's someone that actually really, really enjoys fighting. Look at look at Putin's response to this.
На России зачем поставлять атакамс? Пусть заберут назад атакамс, все другое вооружение, садится за блины, приезжает к нам на чаепитие. Если проиграна война, о чем мы говорим-то? Зачем атакамс? Задайте ему этот вопрос. Смешно.
That's a pretty leery stance. You'll come for a pancake with me. I show you. We've already lost the war. Putin's operating on another level. Do you think that we're in the middle of some massive global spiritual conflict that goes even beyond what's revealed? Are we in? And I don't mean from a geopolitical perspective, because there is, of course, escalating tensions between the US and China, escalating tensions in the proxy war between Russia and the United States. All of these wars are being bundled in with, certainly financially, with the escalating tensions in the Middle East. But sometimes I think it goes deeper than that. That there is something taking place in the heart of each of us, that we're at a time of true fracture and crisis where all of us are going to have to make some decision about what is it that we want. I mean, do you not sometimes think that this is starting to appear like many of the apocalyptic scriptural texts? The rapture, apocalypse, Armageddon. How long can we sustain the idea that these quaking, shaking, broken systems can service the problems that we're experiencing now? The military-industrial complex, the legacy media as it currently stands, an American political system that clearly moves to the tune of a donor class, increasing globalism to the point where your national sovereignty and your national democracy is redundant. Stay tuned to the WHO treaty. I think that drops in like a week. We've got one more week to go, hey, I'm not sure I want WHO being able to bypass democracy in my country and impose lockdowns. This is a really crucial time, and vast, terrible, and inconceivably horrific, although current global events might be. I still consider the possibility that they are symptomatic of something deeper. And in fact, of course they are, because all material phenomena is a manifestation of something subtler, even if you think the entire cosmos emerged from a submolecular explosion. What was this subtler precedent quality prior to the Big Bang? What is the a priori material from which reality is formed? Now, if pancakes with Putin is the answer, I offer you this. Putin offering up pancakes is something that he sort of does, even though it to me sounds pretty off-key. Apparently, for Putin, it's normal. He had pancakes with Xi, and he's in China right now. That's where's Vladimir Putin right now? He's in China. Ooh, that ain't good, because if Vladimir Putin and President Xi are having pancakes right now, I would say that world events could be taking a turn for the worse any day, because this is not some sort of totally localized, proxy-oriented conflict anymore. There are serious participants coming together in opposition. I don't know, man. I'm confused. Now, anyway, do you want to have a look at Xi and Putin having pancakes in the past, or do you want to see a driverless car taking you straight into the arms of dystopia. If you want to see Xi and Putin having pancakes, press 1. If you want to see a driverless taxi, press 2. And while you're deciding, I'll keep an eye on the chat, and then someone will tell me as well. I'll read some of the comments you sent. What if you just sat in a meeting at work, said Panila71, and just answered the questions with don't. Yeah, you can't do that in normal life. They live in another world, don't they? True Nature's Child says, if you watch Biden's interviews from the past, he was still dodgy, but so much sharper. You watch him in the 70s and 80s, he's sort of like someone from Anchorman, like in a brown suit, sort of balding, but with some sort of priapism about him. Arlene Calgary, I'm so tired of the mainstream media. Who knows what to believe in anymore? Firegirl20, just simply posting hope. Sarah G, very smart and ethical. Words are like seeds. Prayers is all I feel I can offer. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What do we do, man? All right. And Katie Beth, simply, the Bible is unfolding before us. Right. Let me just think about the last bit of the Bible. Chapter of Revelations. Beast come out of the sea. Prophecies. Trumpet blasts. Seventh seal. Oh, yeah, that went well. That was quite nice. But surely, is there a bit at the very end of the Bible? I'm going to go and check where it says, then everything's okay and it's going to be all right. And we're going to awaken to the love of God within us, that God manifested God's self on earth through the figure of Christ to show us a kind of a portal to divinity. Are we going to start taking God seriously? As is commonly said, the world don't need more people to believe in God, just those of us to start acting like it. Okay, so I believe, what is it? Let me have a look at the old 1s and 2s. Pancakes by a landslide. I'm seeing a lot of 2s. But let's start with those. But this is Putin and Xi having pancakes. Now try and study this and let me know if you think this is good or bad for escalating global tension. Do these men seem like they're about to bring about Armageddon? And also, do they have good camaraderie around the pancake stand significantly? I think they look very good at pancakes, actually. Putin, he's scattered the batter. He's a batter scatterer. You don't scatter batter like that. I put the batter in the centre and let sweet Lady Gravity take her course. Let it form a natural circular pool. Putin, scatter batter. I scatter batter, I scatter Biden. Let's see how Xi scatters the batter. There's another batter scatterer. They're scattering batter together. That's going to be nuclear war. It's raining down all over Europe and North America any day now. Yeah, the pancakes have turned out okay. They're not interacting much, are they? They're not like... It's like they're sort of in a lab and they're each in separate cages. You know, have you ever seen that thing where they give, like, they have monkeys in the cage and they give one monkey, like, some grapes, and the other monkey they give, like, some dodgy old cracker, and the one that's gone given the cracker is like, what the, you like, really loses it. They're in distinct universes, Xi and Putin. If these guys team up, this is more than a sort of a Marvel cinematic universe. This is a not that marvelous apocalyptic cosmos, I would say, wouldn't you? Hey, if you're watching us on YouTube right now, click the link in the description and become part of our community on Rumble. Download the app, and if it's within your means, become an Awaken Wonder. Support our content. Do meditations with us. Start formulating the solutions to the problems we're evidently facing. We need you. We all need one another. Seems to be the case. Let's just see if these guys are going to make eye contact before they finish their batter scatter. Do you think that they have inconceivable savoury pancakes over there in Russia? That seems to be the case. Cause, like, what's that? Like, what's something that's like they're having a meat pancake there? I'm not sure about that. What do you have on it? A bit of lemon, a bit of sugar. You don't sort of go hard with chili con carne on a pancake, do you? Like these guys are going. Do you think they do represent the power of entire nations? Or do you feel that global politicians are essentially sort of puppets, marionettes, behind whom there are deeper ulterior forces that operate beyond the kind of national divisions that we mere grunts operate within? Essentially, I'm saying, like, in the same way that you would question the power of a president or a politician in any one of our sort of the nations we're more familiar with, Anglophonic, Western Europe, whatever, do you think that Putin's got someone above him going, Vladimir, I did not like the way you made those pancakes. You make Russia look weak. And the same with Xi. Like, do you think that Xi is actually calling the shots over there? Or do they have a deeper state deal? WF, says Marsy's Moon. Straight in there. Straight in. Well, you guys are gonna... They can't be Klaus Schwab. Oh, well, I could make those pancakes. I've got pancake batter in the pouches of my cheek. If I just push my cheek... if I push my cheek, that's clear. It all runs down my chin there. I make pancakes with my saliva every morning. Too much? Too much? Klaus Schwab's cheek pancakes. Is that the answer to the world we're living in? I can't believe it is. I can't believe it is. All right, so they're at the top of their own food chain, says Sean's Bass. No one really commenting on Klaus Schwab's cheeks being filled with pancake batter, which I'm disappointed in. Listen, you're going to love this show because in a minute we're talking to Ted Walter about 9/11. It's not the kind of thing we can put on YouTube. Let me tell you that. It's pretty intense. In the old times, when I sort of transitioned from being a person who was like a mainstream legacy media celebrity into becoming a kind of ardent advocate for global revolution, one of the moments that it got hot was I'd sort of said there's no point voting, right? I mean, there's no point voting. No one I grew up with votes because we all just recognise that whatever party you vote for, you end up being governed by the same deep state and corporate interests that prevail regardless of the charade that we call democracy. Well, people didn't like me saying that, and things started to get a bit on top from that moment on, to tell you the truth. Anyway, I went on some news show. It's like the equivalent of 60 Minutes in your country. I think it's called News Night. It's night. Here's some news. It's nighty news. News up your nighty. And I was on there, and what happened was they were asking questions to try and get me to mess up. And it's not hard to get me to mess up because I'm a bit of like shoot from the hip type of transparent, what you see is what you get person, right? So it goes, well, what about the Twin Towers? You know, do you, and like let's leave YouTube. Let's leave YouTube. Join us. Click the link in the description. Click the link in the description to hear the end of this anecdote. You're going to love it, baby. So we off YouTube.